I'm always obsessed with what I meant to say, and when I try to make sense of it all, I get lost in the moment and let the moment slip away. There's something about the words you say, I hear them when you're not around, and there's something about that look in your eyes and your voice's sound. Well, we can leave this town, pretend that that's the problem, and we can live without all we can live without. And then you tell me someday it's alright with me. I'm always the last one to notice. You're always
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
You are listening to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. 4 beer with a sports talk and a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Sports Network. Listen in as Brent and Dave invite you to belly up to the bar with them to talk about everything in the world of sports, just like you would do at your favorite watering hole. It's sports, beer, and shenanigans, so belly up to the bar with us, grab a beverage, and let's get into it.
The 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, show number 302. Tonight's show is brought to you by SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420pod for $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek.com and the SeatGeek app today for tickets for concerts, shows, events, whatever you want to do at SeatGeek.com today. Dave, you're looking all spry outside in Lethbridge, Alberta, in the backyard, Hawaiian shirt on, full head of hair, glasses going. How's it going, my friend?
Oh, it's going good. It's let me tell you, it's been a busy 72. Right up to right now. Head down, ass up. Kid with baseball. We had my mother-in-law's birthday celebration. It was a nice night we had. And then I had to get the kid for ball pitchers, and then I had to come back, and then my Bluetooth wouldn't work. As you would say, pets' heads are falling off, but I'm glad to make the time and sit outside on a glorious evening in Lethbridge, Alberta.
No, it was a nice night. I had a game earlier on this evening, 5:30 over at Spitz. It was a nice night. Too bad I had to listen to kids bitch about God knows what, but it's not that bad. It was fun. It's always nice being on the ball field. Dave, you were down in the great state of Montana. How are things down there? What's the pulse like down in Montana right now?
I would not be the guy to ask. This is my first ever road trip for baseball for my son. I did plenty of soccer tournaments in my day. Baseball's a total different animal. You just, as a parent, you grab your chair, park your ass, and hunker down. So they had 3 games on Saturday. They lost they made it to the championship side and lost a nail biter. Complete game, 1-0. They lost. It was a good game. The team with the better jerseys won. Go to my Twitter. Yeah. But it was a good weekend, and now we're back home. But I had no idea how many teams there are. There was 20 teams in this tournament for just in Jasper, and they had 12 fields going. They had like 7-year-olds all the way up to 16-year-olds playing on this complex. It was a gong show everywhere.
We won't get it. Maybe we'll spend a lot of time on that. We threatened to do that for a long time about travel sports and travel baseball and the money we made, because you think about that at $1,000 a team and blah blah blah. We'll get into that another day. Dave, over the weekend, the last 2 Canadian remaining teams were knocked out of the National Hockey League Stanley Cup playoffs. The Toronto Maple Leafs were knocked out on Friday night in overtime. The Edmonton Oilers, your Edmonton Oilers, you were pronounced your I wouldn't say your love affair for them anymore, but your affection for them has grown a little bit. They were knocked out last night in a lackluster effort, to say the least, to the Vegas Golden Knights on a 5-2 loss. To me, I think 100% both teams, it's a complete waste of a season, a complete waste of talent, and more so for the Leafs, I think, It's a waste of a 5 or 6 year plan they've had with that organization. Where do you go from here with the teams that build for something and you have a time frame where you want to get something done? Your owner commits some money. Your owner says, okay, go for it. Get this guy, get that guy. And you don't get the not even close to the goal. What do you do at this point?
First of all, don't put words in my mouth. You wanted me to get back together, and I said we're not back together. I'm just kind of creeping on Facebook. So let's put that right to bed immediately.
Creeping on Facebook.
We'll start with the Leafs. Leafs are in trouble. They were building towards this year. All their eggs are in the basket. They're going to have to make some tough choices. They can't keep everybody, and nor should they. Even though every game was close and or overtime, the Leafs just didn't show any heart at all. Well, it was only 5 friggin' games, so how much heart can you show? Like when the rubber hit the road, when the rubber hit the road, they buckled. They were so soft. They didn't answer the bell. Find your idiotism, whatever we call it. They simply didn't show up. They weren't good enough. And I don't know what the problem is. The problem is the guys in the room. That's the problem. The other half of that problem is all these guys are making $10 million a year and no one's going to re-sign and take a pay cut, even though who's a free Austin Matthews, I think is
Matthews. They want to renegotiate. He has 1 year left, but they want to renegotiate and get the extension signed now. And he was on thing. I want to stay here. Then stay here.
Take a haircut.
And that's the thing that fucking makes me crazy about this. I'm swearing this early into this. Obviously, I get a little revved up when it comes to the Leafs and the way he played in these playoffs. And as an owner, I would say, you know what, dude? You're great in the regular season, and we're putting up good numbers. You weren't as good this year as you were last year, and you put up record numbers. Last year was 60, whatever goals it was. But as an owner or as a GM or as Shanahan, because even Dubas is a lame duck GM right now, I'd say, okay, if you want to stay here, and if you say you want to win, because I just heard you say that to media, listen here, man. You haven't been good in the playoffs since you got here. You haven't done a thing since you got here. This team still hasn't won anything. We're paying you. Yes, we pay you for regular season, but
raises are made in the playoffs.
Here's the big but, man. Here's the big but.
A raise.
You ain't getting a raise. If you and the rumors are out there for $15 million. If you think for 1 second you are better than Nathan McKinnon, you're sadly mistaken. And I would, because McKinnon makes, I think, 12.6, and he got that $100,000 raise over what McDavid got, and that's an NHLPA thing, making sure that people are still getting paid. It's a union thing.
Yeah.
It is, and I get it 100%. But
I agree with it. But yeah,
and I agree 100%.
But you're not the new benchmark, Austin.
I don't think that Austin Matthews should be the spokesman for the NHLPA union side of things. I really don't.
No, if I was Toronto and he said, okay, this is what we offer, and it would be a haircut. He goes, well, we were thinking more like the 14, 15. I wish you well, gentlemen.
See ya.
Bye. You know what, Mr. Matthews? If you want to leave this organization and sign for $15 million someplace else, I know winning the cup isn't important to you.
No, the thing is about this whole thing is if Matt, I would do that little prick dirty right now because he hasn't done a damn thing. Like, I shouldn't say little, he's a bigger guy, but he's a prick in my opinion. I would do that guy dirty. I would make it public. If he comes out and says, I want this, I want that, and internally he ain't signing anyways. I would make it public to the people of Toronto saying, I wanted this, because the people of Toronto and the Leafs fans across the country would say, let him go. It's to a man. There's about 20% of Leafs fans say that they should keep Matthews and not Marner and But I would say make it public. Go ahead.
I wouldn't even make it public. It's just listen to my technique. It was like, here's our number, there's yours. Yeah, we're not taking that. When you want to talk about this number, give us a call. Otherwise, I want your list of 7 teams we can trade you to next week, please.
Because he has, but by July 1st, the Leafs have to make a deal with the Matthews camp and the Marner camp because they have no movements till July 1st.
Right.
or no move would kick in after
Or
July 1st.
modified no moves or
Whatever it
something
is.
like that. Yeah.
So and the thing is, they have Dubas, who's a lame duck manager, because his contract's also up, so they aren't going to let him make any deals to maybe dismantle a franchise and everything else. So they got a lot of work to do there. But I honestly think, just, and let's not just pick on Matthews here, but it's to start. I think teams, we talked about last week, not to this extent, but I think teams need to start pointing fingers a little bit and saying, no, man, we paid you. We gave you what you wanted. You wanted this guy, that guy, this. We gave it to you. You didn't deliver. Not me, you. You didn't deliver to what your contract should have been. And I think teams got to start doing it. We talked about it last week a little bit, and I think we can carry on with it the whole thing. So I think teams really have to start doing that.
Oh, for sure. Like, I get it. Kachuk's in the first year of his deal in Florida, and he elevated his game, and his team's still playing. Not only has he elevated his personal game, he put the team on his back, and he's motivating his team. He's being a leader on the ice, doing what needs to get done to win the cup. And I'll say this for the Oilers: Draisaitl and McDavid did. They earned their bucks. They're not. Edmonton did not move on because of the leadership of Draisaitl and McDavid. They have other issues
between the pipes. Yeah, the Draisaitl last night, he said it was he was not good the last 2 to 3 games of that series. He had a rough go. Yeah, he was on a record-setting pace. He had 13 goals in the first, I think, 10 games of the playoffs or whatever it was, and wasn't very good the last couple. Didn't do anything, so you can't really blame it on him, but it wasn't like he didn't do what they needed to do to move on. But that team made a huge mistake, and I'm the first one to say that I thought that Jack Campbell was going to be the guy when they got him from Toronto or the free agency last summer. I thought that's going to be something to go over the hump, and I thought that the Leafs were going to miss him, and turns out Campbell wasn't the guy throughout the regular season. But I think that on the Oilers series with the Vegas Golden Knights, I think, okay, one, Skinner was atrocious. He was absolutely atrocious. He's a rookie, but a 24-year-old rookie. He wasn't good enough. And then I think that Woodcroft, putting him in after pulling him after, I think, 4 games this series or 3 games this series out of 6 games, that's on Woodcroft to keep going back to the woodshed. I think that was a huge mistake, in my opinion, to keep going to a guy. And it shows how much faith they had in the other guy who you're giving $5 million to, that you can't, they didn't want to play either guy, but they had to.
No, so what happened with the Oilers? Like, I agree on both points. I bumped in face to face with a crazy Oilers fan. Who in January he was doing cartwheels, like he was jizzing all over the place. He was so excited. With this team.
Truck, yeah.
Yeah, and then I said to him today, I go, they got out-goalied and out-coached. He goes, I'm not going to disagree with that at all. Because all the time I was saying it's D-men and goalie, and that's going to cost them. But the D-men didn't cost them, but they did, kind of. They got out-goalied. We just talked about that. But then they got out-coached. Like, the more the series went on, the less effective McDavid and Draisaitl were. That's because Vegas was playing them smarter. They were making adjustments to their game to neutralize those two guys. Like, I knew when I watched part of that game 5, I knew the Oilers were fucked in game 6. Like, after watching 20 minutes of that game, it's like they haven't changed a thing. They're walking into the same traps. Vegas is just owning them. And then also the out-coached, out-goalie, all Campbell did was, when you put him in those 3 times, is pitch fucking shutouts. And you don't trust him with Skinner's thing. Like, this Woodcroft, I get it. McDavid and Draisaitl love him. But, now we're talking about a playoff coach and a regular season coach, because he didn't adjust his game. He didn't have the balls to put Campbell in. Fuck it if you don't trust him. I could see with my not hockey mind that Skinner was fighting the puck all game, every game. Even the games they won, he was giving up fat rebounds. not clutch.
Last night they were down 4-2 after 2, and they get on 17 shots, and Skinner was atrocious. I thought like it could have had Redlinski and then had a better shot last night than Skinner. I don't understand it. Why if you keep pulling a guy, that means you have zero confidence. Like, and this is no goalie talking from years ago when he could get yanked his fair share of times. Like when you get pulled, the last thing you want to do the next day is stop hockey pucks. And honest to God, and that. And I don't think that's changed over 30, 40 years. I really don't. And I when a goalie gets pulled, his psyche goes down because you don't lose your skill, you lose your confidence. And when the coach has no confidence in you, he's taking you out mid game. The fan base has no confidence in you. Management has no confidence in you, and the players have no confidence in you. So they're playing tentative in front of you, so they can't go this way to get the puck that way because they're holding back a little bit. And that's why they only got 17 shots against the first 2 periods last night's game, because the Oilers were not going north when they were always holding back south to try not to give anything up because they knew they had a bad goaltender in net.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, which I don't. That tells me that's a bad coach. Switch it up. They won games in front of Soupy, right? He came in that 4-1 game against LA, right?
Yeah, came back and won in overtime and got the whole thing done. So why not go back to him?
And you paid him like there's a $5 million
bucks.
But there's a $5 million game in there someplace. I get it. He didn't show it during the regular season.
There's got to be.
This ain't it. This ain't it. And when I was watching that game last night, it was over. Like, never mind the shitty goaltending. But in that third period, you see him press, you see him like they spent the whole game in Vegas's end. That's not Edmonton hockey. This team, they score. They're most effective on the rush. When they cycled it like Vegas, and that's what they let him do. They let him cycle and shoot from the point all third period. But you can't wind McDavid up inside the blue line. He has to come from the opposite blue line. So they got out coached in the most important period of the whole fucking year. Vegas let Edmonton just take shots and tee it up, and we'll just clear the rebounds. And we're not going to give McDavid or Draisaitl any room to move. We'll let them possess the puck. Who gives a shit? They're dangerous when they're on the move. Like that, Woodcroft should be embarrassed. Like I would want to fire him. But
Austin Powers looking motherfucker,
yeah.
Mike Myers looking fucking whatever. Yeah,
I don't care. That ain't my team, right? So it was actually nice looking at it instead of pissing and moaning about the referee and pissing and moaning about Marcia Shore. That slash should have got him 3 games on Draisaitl. Well, how about you get a better fucking How about you get a better fucking goalie and a better fucking coach? That would have helped more.
Dave, you made a very good point about there's got to be a $5 million win in there somewhere. And you pay a guy to last the entire season and to do what he does through the regular season. But you know what? We talk about it here in the 1420 Sports Bar podcast ad nauseum that nobody gives a shit about regular season stats. They don't. It's just, who cares? You are there to win championships. You're there to win titles. You're there to get your team to a final. You're there to put more money in your owners' pockets. And that's the only reason why you have a job. And I don't care what anybody says. The only reason why there's pro sports is because owners want a fucking something on their own mantle. And that's what it is. And for fans to enjoy. When you say there's a $5 million win in there somewhere, those owners and those GMs sign these players to get you that one win that might get you a championship. Yes, you get the X amount of goals out of McDavid. Yes, you get the X amount of goals out of Matthews and everything else and these wins and da. But at the end of the day, owners want one thing, and that's a championship. And so when you give these guys this much money that you want, like you said with Campbell, there's got to be a $5 million win in there somewhere out of 16 wins. Because to get 16 wins in National Hockey League playoffs, you'll do it 16 different ways. And you'll get a blowout, you'll get a overtime win, you get a double overtime win, you'll get a game that you probably shouldn't have won. On and on it goes. And it's one of the smarter things you've ever said in the history of this stupid show that we do. To get that $5 million win, that's why you get those contracts. It has nothing to do with your regular season prowess or anything else. It's for that one win that you might get us, and that's how these teams get constructed. And that's my opinion.
Well, let's equate that like we have so many times. The goalie, the most comparable position is a quarterback or a starting pitcher in major leagues. right? So that $5 million win. And on the flip side, there's that rookie that comes out because the big boy got hurt. And then now that this kid is making a heroic start, right? How many rookies have pitched in the World Series, like their 5th start ever, and then, like, pitched into the 6th inning down by 2, but it's a heroic effort. Well, like fucking Andy Pettit's career, right? They paid him to just keep him in the game. That's what you want out of a goalie. You don't need him to steal a game, but you need him to keep you in the game. We're not asking for miracles here, Soupy. Just don't let in bad goals. And Skinner let in 3 bad goals last night, and then the Oilers win like 3-2.
Like we talk about this, like these owners pay for championship and players and everything else. Like I look back to the last time the Yankees won a World Series in 2009. Yeah, they had CC, and yeah, they got to share and everything else, and they went out and they spent a lot of money. But there was a start, I think it was Game 5, where AJ Burnett was lights out, and he got paid a lot of money, obviously. But that one start paid for the 3 years he was a Yankee, the $57 million, whatever they gave him, and it's
too much money because
too much
a clutch start.
But he made that start that won them a World Series and got that win that you need. And the Oilers and the Leafs aren't getting those clutch performances from the money that they're doling out. They're not.
See, well, I don't blame Draisaitl or the effort of McDavid. I really don't. I blame that on coaching because that's the job of a coach as well, is to give your stars the room. Vegas was just smarter. The Woodcroft had to figure something else out. Like even cycle it more like in your own zone, draw them back because there was just too much traffic, and that's exactly what happened the last 2 games. Vegas was more than happy to let McDavid and Draisaitl set up in the offensive zone. That's, unless it's the power play, that's not where they're dangerous. Just funnel them and take away everything, because you know what else I saw? Yamamoto couldn't score if you threw his whole fucking body into the net. The D-man, what the fuck? Last night, it was the 4-on-3, which is a poor penalty. I understand, Oiler fan, you're allowed to be pissed at that, to go 4-on-3. But they had Desharnais out there as one of the 3. And like as soon as I saw Desharnais, oh fuck, they're gonna score for sure. And they scored for sure. Desharnais. I don't understand how that guy is in the NHL, let alone on a 4-on-3 in the playoffs. Bad coaching.
When you get to those games that you get this part of the season now, and guys like when the Oilers are done last night and the Leafs were done on Friday, and you get the post games, and everybody says this guy was hurt and he was ailing from this, ailing from that. Why not say it early? I don't get, like, if a guy's got a fucking left wrist contusion, then say on Thursday afternoon he's got a left wrist contusion. The other team knows. It's not a mystery. It's not a mystery that fucking, because their scouts are watching way more than me and you are. Why not let it out there so the fans aren't just beating these guys up? If Matthews is hurt, say he's hurt. If Kane is hurt, say he's hurt. He's playing on a bum fucking left fucking hind tit or whatever. Like just say it. Like you're not.
The fans don't deserve it. They don't deserve that information. Fans are idiots. Right? Every message.
It would get people off their fucking backs a little bit. Like,
you honestly think so? Well, then bench them. Then they're just going to yip at someone else.
There are the people who are that fucking stupid.
Right, yeah. And that's what message boards are. They're just echo chambers for people that want to yell and shake their fists at clouds. You know, they can't all be enlightened, such as you and I.
Well, I want to talk enlightened a little bit later on in the show about something I put a YouTube short up there today. And this guy was very enlightened about a comment that we made on Thursday's show about football and hockey and everything else. And we'll get into that in a little bit, because I couldn't believe the idiocy of this person's verbal diarrhea. But it's odd that these teams, like, it takes so much in planning ahead. The Chicago Blackhawks might be going through it right now, what their plan is, or their 5-year plan, because they're going to go draft this Bedard kid first overall come July 14th, whenever the draft is. And the plan that has to happen with these franchises, and who we need, and how much money we have, and how much work goes behind the whole rigmarole, It's tough, man. And now both of these teams, the Leafs have a thing, the Oilers have a thing. They spend a lot of money and literally nothing to show for it. Like nothing.
It was a perfect day to visit with a Super Oiler fan, because we are friends, and he knows we're divorced. And then, we had a better year than last year. I go, actually, you didn't. Sure, we did. You look at this. I go, like, so that's what you're playing for, second seed? And then he paused. He goes, well, I guess you're right. I go, well, no, I am right. Like, you lost one more. You only won one series this year. You're further away. Yeah, but it was Vegas. I go, excuses are assholes.
Doesn't matter.
And then the same thing.
Like right now, you're further away than you were last year.
You're right. And Vegas was the better team. Like, there is no excuse. There's reasons, but there is zero excuse. You can't blame
and it's not like Vegas has this fucking goaltender who's the next coming of fucking Patrick Warren. I don't know the guy. I don't know the guy's name.
No, I'm not even going to say he played lights out, but he played better than Skinner, and that's it. That's all he had to do. Because I think those teams are offensively fairly evenly matched. Defensively, the Vegas is better, and Vegas, Vegas looked to me a better team. That's it. That's all. And anyone that says different is lying to themselves.
Yeah, it's crazy to have two of the best top 5 guys in the league, or top 2 guys in the league, really, when it comes down to it, and be that far away. Like, really, they're 8, 9, they're 9 wins away from the Stanley Cup. You might as well be a mile away from the Stanley Cup. Really,
I've been saying it for 12 goddamn years. There's no goalie, and that's what happened again. Actually, the D didn't lose this series for him.
There's 2 players. There's 2 players on each team that you can blame the Leafs loss and the Oilers loss on, and I will blame. And it's shitty to say, I will blame that entire series loss on Stuart Skinner at 24 years of age. It's true. Skinner lost that series. He should not have been in there, but he was in there. Skinner loses that series for the Leafs, or for the Oilers, and Austin Matthews loses that series for the Leafs.
Yeah,
2 guys.
Yeah, so like
that got paid a lot differently. 2 guys ended the season for 2 franchises.
The Oilers and Vegas flip goaltending performance, different result.
Yep.
You switch out Matthews for Chucky, getting paid the same amount, different result.
Yeah. No, Matthews.
There you go.
Matthews.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the High Five Strangers guy. Game-winning interception. First down. Just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
You just listened to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. 4 beer with sports talk and a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Let's get into it.